Good day, everyone. I am Janlyn P. Tubok, a fourth-year college student taking up Bachelor of Elementary Education. Today, I will be discussing about my topic, which is Module 8, Performing Literature, the Art of Oral Interpretation. My assigned topic is 8.4 Sources of Literary Texts or Materials for Oral Interpretation. In literary research, literary texts are the main primary sources. More broadly, primary sources are first-hand accounts taken from the time period an event occurs. These types of sources include diaries, letters, newspapers, photographs, maps, and others. This chapter is concerned with the oral interpretation, an educational genre in which students respond to a source text and show their ability to understand and interpret it. It also offers teaching learning activities for the successful production of oral interpretations. Number 1. Toward interpreting source text. When students are given a text to read, they are also expected to respond to it in various ways. We generally ask students about their first impressions on a piece, and later we tend to gradually guide them toward a more careful and detailed discussion of ideas or elements in the source material. This is why it is vital to encourage our students, especially at upper, intermediate, and advanced levels of instruction, to respond to source text by interpreting and evaluating them critically, making use of the right language choices in order to respond effectively. Number 2. The function of oral interpretations in educational settings. The oral interpretation can be defined as an educational genre and a very important one considering students' overall literacy development. An oral interpretation is a social activity that takes place in educational settings in which students show their ability to understand, analyze, and interpret classroom material, and their effective use of linguistic and interpersonal resources typically at upper, intermediate, and advanced levels of instruction. These oral texts are a means of transmitting knowledge and showing how truly and effectively the reading or listening material like literary genres, essays, journalistic articles, movies, documentaries, speeches, interviews, and has been treated in class discussion with teacher and classmates and later interpreted by them in the light of a theme or idea they are assigned to explore. Number 3. Oral interpretations in EFL course books. EFL, it is an English as a foreign language, a course that helps a student over the age of 16 years old improve their English. And educational websites used locally in schools and institutes for students at upper, intermediate, or advanced level of instruction. The purpose was to determine to what extent interpretations, particularly oral ones, are actually or potentially a teaching and learning object. In general terms, we found that interpretations are rarely taught explicitly. Lessons in course books are typically planned around a text on a particular content area or a brief article, for example, or a narrative text that is to be discussed in class. This text can often be enough for students to prepare an oral interpretation in which they explore a theme, an idea they discuss to interpret the source text. Alternatively, teachers can provide additional material to complement what is included in the lesson. An article, a short story, a film, for example. in order to build a more solid content area that students can respond to or interpret. So whether an oral presentation is explicitly called for or whether there is opportunity for it, we would like to encourage that it be part of what we actually teach our students. Number 4, our study. Our analysis of interpretations draws especially upon work by authors such as Rotary on 1994 and Christie and Dreyfus. Rotary describes the interpretation as a response text that shows that one is able to read the message of the text and to respond to the cultural values presented in the narrative 1994. Christie and Dreyfus focus on two main features in their analysis of thematic interpretations. The strong organization, which ensures the fulfillment of its overall purpose, and the student's ability to create abstractions about the matters being discussed on 2007. These two concepts are important to our study, for we seek to encourage our students to work conscientiously on the way they organize their ideas, to be able to make generalizations, typically expressed as abstractions, about the topic being discussed and to support them with concrete details from the source text. Number 5. A general model of oral interpretations. As we have discussed, response genres are text students write in order to evaluate and interpret the source text they have worked with in class or read on their own. The response genre interpretations shows that a student is able to read the message of a text and to respond to the cultural values presented there. By Rotary on 1994. We follow Rotary's representation of the textual structure of interpretations. The stages include an initial evaluation, which presents the message of the text, a synopsis that selects certain elements of the story to illustrate the message, and a reaffirmation of the evaluation, which elaborates the message. As the source text students use in language courses are varied, the evaluation stage may concern the message in the case of a narrative, other important ideas or issues explored in the source text, or appreciations of its author's intention. The synopsis stage can include the selection of elements of a narrative or information from the source text that serves as evidence to illustrate the student's evaluation. Finally, the reaffirmation stage typically includes the elaboration or restatement of the message of a story or some aspects of article, a talk, or a movie, for example, that was interpreted. So that's all for today, and thank you and God bless.